Hello, today we're making a Betty Woodman inspired vase. My name is Ladera McKinnon, a teaching artist at Clayworks in Charlotte, North Carolina. This video is presented by Clayworks in Charlotte, North Carolina, and sponsored by Culture Blocks, a community partnership between ALC, Charlotte Mecklenburg Library, Mecklenburg County Park and Recs, to bring arts and culture experiences closer to where residents live. Culture Blocks is funded by Mecklenburg County. What came in your kit is air dry clay, acrylic paint, a skewer, and a paintbrush. What you will need from home: a workspace, a small dish of water, and items found around the house for texture. Betty Woodman was based in New York for her art career, but moved all over New England many times and throughout her childhood. She is known for her spiritual and colorful sculptures with an abstract approach to the surface and a cubist perspectives. Her work is that she used vessels in an untraditional way, and also her pictures as well. She started making more sculptural and fine art pictures in a way that would be more high-end or fine art than regular tableware. Really wanted to push that narrative for her work because she wanted more. Also, in 2016, Betty was the first living woman artist to ever have a show in New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art. This is very rare because museums like to celebrate artists that have passed, and for her to also be a woman to be showing in such a location is such a big deal and very, very rare. What I love about Betty's work is that she was a painter and a ceramic artist. In the bottom right, you can see that her paintings and her ceramics kind of are seamless together. It's like they're meant to be there. There's even pieces that are up top in the pink area that is actual ceramic work. Looks like it is painted on as well. At the top left, you can see that her vases are very untraditional. Pieces that are in different shapes coming from it, but you can still see that it is still a vessel. It looks like she uses underglazes for her vessels to paint those beautiful colors and marks. On the top right, you can see that she played with more glazes to give a painterly look as well. And that's her non-traditional pictures that are up top on the right. It still could be functional, but she really wanted that to be more fine art, and it definitely looks like it belongs in a museum. Overall today, we're going to definitely try to be inspired by Betty's beautiful work, have some textures, some movement, and really embrace the different shapes she uses on her vases. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is break our clay in half and create a pinch pot. Pinch pot, a technique of putting your thumb in a ball of clay and pinching from the bottom up to create an opening in the clay. You're going to go ahead and ball up 1/2 of your clay into a ball. Since your ball of clay is in a ball now, you're going to take one thumb, stick it right in the center, and then work your way from the bottom up. When you pinch your pinch pot, you want this to be pretty tall, so you're gently pulling the clay up as you are pinching. Now that you have pinched your pinch pot, you're going to tap it on your surface that you're working on to give it a flat bottom. And then just do a little bit more pinching so it's nice and round. You want this to kind of look like a small cup. Now we're just going to clean up the rim to make it nice and even. Just use a small bit of water, not too much. For our vessel, we are going to be making some slabs to represent Betty's work. slab, a flattened or rolled out piece of clay. So you're going to take some of your clay and just start to flatten it out with your palm or your fingertips. We want these to be pretty long, so I'm doing more of a vertical flattening out the clay. To get some inspiration for these slabs, here's Betty's work again. You can see how she used these diagonal, more geometric shapes. So I'm going to go for some geometric shapes that are a little bit taller since we're going to be putting these on the side of our pinch pot. I'm going to use the sharp end of my stick here and gently just sketch out some geometric shapes. I'm making sure that they have a flat edge at the bottom because it's going to be at the bottom of our pinch pot since we're putting it on the side. And then I am taking the sharp end of my stick, dipping it in my water and cutting out each piece. Doing this because it gives it a clean edge. The stick goes a little bit easier through the clay. Also try to take off smaller portions at a time. Don't try to just outline the whole thing to cut it out. This first piece looks really good. I feel like it's very similar. I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of water and gently smooth out the edges. And then I'm going to, once it's smooth, we're going to slip and score to attach. Score and slip. Score, the process of incising surface of wet or leather hard clay in a cross-hatching pattern before applying slip and joining clay. Slip is watered down clay used for joining clay together. For this project, we are using water. You're going to use the sharp end of your stick to score the back of your piece. Make sure it's nice and roughed up, not too neat. And then wherever you want it to go, you're going to score there as well. Tap on a little bit of water and press it in. I like to smooth out the little pieces that I attach as I go, instead of doing it all at once. For the next piece, I want this to be a little bit more slender, so I kind of rolled this out and then pressing the clay a little bit longer, and then I'm going to draw it out and then go ahead and trace it out and slip and score just how we just did. And I'm going to skip a little bit of space in between all the larger ones. All the extra clay I have left over, I will make smaller pieces to go in between. Just remember to take your time cutting out these pieces. And again, I'm cutting out another piece, just gently sketching this out, going really close to the edge. Going close to the edge kind of helps you to create a shape. Since all of our larger pieces are done, I'm going to use the extra clay to just create some shapes just by sculpting the clay and also just drawing out some of those shapes. So first I'm going to draw out some smaller geometric shapes and then sculpt the leftover clay. Remember, we're just placing this in between the larger shapes, and then just make sure you slip and score those, just how we did the larger pieces. And for the last piece, I'm just going to scope it, since it's a smaller piece of clay, into a geometric shape. Technically, you could have scoped all of your clay into these pieces, but I really want to cut them out with straight edges, just because that's how her work is. And we're just going to slip and score. I think the piece looks really great. I feel like it has that sculptural feel like Betty's pieces. Lastly, smooth out anything and then let this dry for about 24 hours. My piece is completely dry. We are going to go ahead and start to paint. Take inspiration from Betty's work. She uses these greens and oranges, very vibrant colors, purples, blues. We're going to be using those type of colors. You can really choose what you want to use. Also going to do some of that mark making that she does with the black and the navy and some of her patterns as well. Since I saw that she has yellow base color on some of her pieces, I'm going to start out with yellow on the pinch pot area. You can paint the inside of yours if you would like. Really want to embrace the outside. So I'm just going to paint that base layer. I'm choosing to use orange, green, and light blue for my geometric pieces. You can use any of the colors that you saw. She also uses like light pink. She uses a light green, like mint color. You can use that as well. I just love these colors, so that's the ones I'm going to use. The next color I'm going to be using is a lighter green. I'm adding a little bit of white to it to tone it down, and then paint these smaller pieces. And I'm just going to go ahead and finish up the rest of the pieces by mixing more colors that I like that she uses, and then we'll get to the details. Now I'm going to add some of the mark making and pattern that has on her pieces. I'm going to make up my own, maybe some stripes or curves. You can definitely get creative and come up with your own designs. Added a little bit of water to my black so it's not overpowering. And it gives you more of a brush stroke and make it look a little bit like underglaze. It has like wavy lines. I'm adding a little bit of that. And I'm really embracing the brush stroke. I might do a little bit of touching up later on the black so it could be a little bit darker and have a little bit more definition. Lastly, we're going to add a little bit of drip because on her pictures she has glaze that is dripping, but it still has really great color. So I have like this chunky black on here, and I'm kind of tapping in water to get it to drip. But I also want to see through it, so I'm just doing a couple of blotches to start out with. And I'm only doing it on the yellow base area. Lastly, if you want to touch up some of your pattern, just add a little bit of black on top, and that will be it. Wow, I really enjoyed this project. I think this turned out so well and really embraces Betty's work. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you to our partners.